This video looks at the mapping of units of competency to the Australian Core Skills Framework. You can find this information in ACSF Training Package companion volumes. The mapping information gives the levels of skill of a learner competent in that particular unit. The levels are not meant to be entry requirements or to exclude people from a training program. The levels are there to help provide trainers like you with information about what to aim for in your training program and to work out the support that a learner may need. To work out how to support a learner through a unit of competency or a qualification or any program of training, you really need to find out the learner's ACSF levels. This requires a pre-training assessment. Pre-training ACSF assessments could be either indicative or diagnostic. Indicative assessments give a ballpark of the potential learner's skills. Many RTOs use an indicative assessment to determine whether a potential learner has the foundation skills required for a training program or whether something more in-depth is required. An indicative assessment might be a short, informal chat with the learner. During this chat, an assessor can begin to develop a picture of the candidate's oral communication, both speaking and listening, by focusing on questions that explore the candidate's education and work background, interests, and approaches to learning. The chat session could also incorporate the completion of a candidate information form, self-assessment, or an enrolment form. The Community Services and Health Skills Check is an example of an indicative pre-assessment. You can find the skills check on the CS&HISC website. Many RTOs carry out this type of assessment online. The process often provides enough information to indicate whether the candidate has the core skills required to be able to complete a specific training program. So who can carry out an indicative assessment? There are currently no regulations or standards about who can carry out indicative ACSF assessments, so people with little or no knowledge of the ACSF could carry one out. Whoever it is, it would be good if the person was provided some guidance on how to make a candidate comfortable and good practice in general. Be aware, an indicative ACSF assessment might show that the candidate could have some difficulties with the training program, perhaps because of their low-level foundation skills. If this is the case, or if you have concerns, you should refer the candidate for a diagnostic ACSF assessment. Diagnostic assessment is more in-depth and takes more time. It's usually carried out on a one-to-one basis. To make sure the choice of activities and tasks in a diagnostic assessment are appropriate, include consideration of the candidate's background. This will have been drawn out of previous conversations with the candidate. There are no regulations or standards to identify who can carry out a diagnostic ACSF assessment either. But due to their more detailed nature, the assessor would need to have considerable knowledge of the ACSF. There may be someone in your organisation that can do this, or your RTO may need to bring in someone with special expertise. The assessment needs to be an accurate assessment against the ACSF to be useful. Anyone involved with work that involves judgments against the ACSF should be involved in validation sessions to ensure that their assessment of levels really does match the ACSF. It's very easy for practitioners who work with the ACSF to become isolated and end up misjudging levels without realizing. Accurate professional judgments are validated through agreement with experienced practitioners, and even experienced practitioners need to participate in validation to ensure consistent judgment of levels. Likewise, anyone involved in assessing candidates' skills against the ACSF should also be involved in moderation sessions. This process ensures agreement about candidates' responses, again to ensure that judgments are consistent with the framework, and there is professional agreement between staff within organisations and between organisations to ensure consistency.